Last three, all the way from the curiously fragrant harbor. Lots of buttons. Ken Lee, everybody. Give it up for Ken Lee. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ken, and I'm the founder of Hong Kong-based startup Lots of Buttons. Lots of Buttons is an online craft store that's aggregating all crafts materials onto one website and selling them at 50% of retail. If you live in a small town in the US and you're looking for a specific crafts material like a button, chances are you won't find it. Lots of Buttons right now has over 20,000 buttons on its website, and it's the largest button website in the world. And we plan to do this with every vertical in the crafts industry, becoming the world's largest craft store. So the problem we're trying to solve is that crafts materials are expensive, they're hard to sort through, and availability is pretty unreliable because of the long supply chain. So our solution is to aggregate everything into one site, ship and source from the same low-cost location, and to not carry inventory, which I'll get into in a moment. So crafts is a huge market in the US. It's around $29 billion, and it grew 7% a year from 2001 till now. The largest cost component is actually the logistics, and the stuff is actually made in faraway China. So what we plan to do, or what we want to do better, is that we want to market in English, we want to ship cheaper than our competitors, and we want to be as close to China as possible. So that's why we're in Hong Kong. Hong Kong also offers us a multitude of suppliers of different scope and scale, and to the extent that we can actually source just in time. We can buy buttons as the order comes in and not carry any inventory, and still realize 400% to 500% markup. So why are we starting with the button vertical? Because buttons are hard to find, and they're a major pain point for crafters. Buttons are also very high margin, and buttons have a very small form factor, so it's very cheap to ship. In fact, we calculated that it's actually cheaper for us in Hong Kong to send buttons to the US via priority mail than for us to send it via priority mail within the US. So our competitive positioning is sort of in between three opposing objectives, which is low prices, broad selection, and high quality. So by excelling in all three areas, we think we can offer a very compelling value proposition to crafters, and also at the same time have a competitive moat against companies looking to get into this space. So some of the things that we've done since our full commercial launch in September, we've gotten on the third spot on Google for the keyword buttons, and we average around 800 unique visitors a day. Our last month's sales were about 13,000, and we're about 5,000 away from break even. Our average order size is also $25, and you gotta remember this is just for buttons. And I guess we've tried to really keep lean, so we've kept our customer acquisition costs actually lower than the profit that first order generates. So in terms of expansion, we want to expand in all three dimensions. We want to expand horizontally and stack fatter verticals, larger verticals, such as scrapbooking papers and beads, which are billion-dollar markets. We also want to increase our reach vertically and source from factories, go upstream, up the sourcing canoe, go up north to China. And we also want to source for B2B, meaning we want to source any style and any quantity for retailers and manufacturers. And also we want to innovate in our business model, what we call the Z-axis. So we want to add other revenue streams, such as allowing crafters who have bought stuff from our site to come back and sell the finished good on our site, similar to what Etsy.com, which is a major competitor to eBay, does. So we need investment. So we need marketing. We need investment for tackling the next two verticals, which is beads and ribbons. And these are billion-dollar markets. We sort of consider buttons to be our little league market, where we tested our marketing ideas, and we also developed, our experience in operations. And now we're ready to graduate to these larger markets, or larger verticals. And the good news is that the operational support, the operational infrastructure is already in place. So we can actually scope economize and actually use the same operational structure, and in that way, achieve significant profitability. And finally, there's also synergistic cross-selling by making the people who buy buttons from our site right now buy ribbons and beads as well. So in that way, we don't have to spend any in marketing and increase our basket size. So this is our team. We're still a small team, but together we have quite a bit of experience in e-commerce, in online marketing, and in cross-border opportunities. This is a screenshot of our website. As you can see, our aesthetic is very DIY, very craftsy. And this is our product page. And we've actually tried to make it very modular so that we can actually tack on verticals at will, and using the same structure and the sorting tools on the left. And that's the end. Thanks for your time.
Few questions. Are you the only one in the world that do this button stuff online?
Yeah, kind of. There's a couple more sites for buttons, but none of them have more than 5,000 unique visitors.
And what's your SKU count? Like, how many do you
25,000?
Yeah, so I think a lot of you are thinking, oh, zips, right? Like, fuck, I should do zips, or I should do socks.
Yeah. Someone actually registered lots of zippers, and we couldn't get that.
So, who is your customer? Are they like craftsmen, or are they like small little shops?
So there's around 20 million to 30 million crafters, like sort of people who do DIY crafts at home. And actually 56% of households in the US actually participate in crafts at least once per year.
Okay, I second that testament from Jeffrey there. When I thought of buttons, I thought this might have been a joke when I saw the preamble before setting up here on stage. You talked about you don't manage the product, or you don't have inventory, right?
Right.
So how do you maintain and control the quality of the product? And it's obviously going through multiple suppliers.
Yeah, so we have a network of suppliers, and what happens is, they're sort of like candy shops, right? So we have a merchandiser who sees the order, she runs down, and she sort of goes to the shop, and she picks up what we need right away. And that way we're not burdened with any balance sheet risk. We don't have to take in lots of inventory because, with Pareto principle, more than 80% of the profits is generated by 20% of the SKUs.
Okay, so you're up now, you're making money. You said you're almost break even, did you say?
Yeah, about 2 months, I'd say.
You've been up for 2 months?
No, we'll be break even hopefully in 2 months.
Okay. And so if you got money today, you were given, say, what are you up to, $500,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do with that money?
I think we devote probably 60 to 70% to that, to marketing, especially to marketing to the two verticals I talked about, beads and ribbons, because they're actually very cluttered, but they're much larger markets, they're billion-dollar markets. So we need sort of the marketing boom for the gunpowder to cut through the clutter and get our name out there. And we also, when I talked about sourcing upstream, once we have the data set of prior purchases, we plan to make selective purchases of stuff that we know will sell. That way we can realize higher margins.
So my question is, how competitive are you guys in terms of pricing compared with the ordinary products?
So we try to be 50% or at least 30% the price of retail at the ground level in the States. So we have a significant, we're a lot cheaper than pretty much everyone else out there. And this is, at least for the button vertical, we plan to do this for every other vertical because we're so close to the source, which is China. And we're so close to where the stuff is produced.
It's very interesting business. So I like business. I guess your business is very profitable, isn't it?
Not yet. Hopefully. So it's very high margin though. So yeah, it's very high margin. Our gross margins right now, without keeping inventory, are close to 70%.
Excellent, that wraps it up. Thank you very much.